Brianna Turner has signed with the Indiana Fever per the WNBA transition page. Some depth for the Fever front court. She played for, again, I believe she played for Chicago.
Brianna Turner has officially joined the Indiana Fever, according to the WNBA's transition page. She's set to provide some much-needed depth for the Fever's front court. Turner, who had previously played for the Chicago Sky, shocked many when she decided to leave Chicago and team up with Caitlin Clark in Indiana. Angel Reese didn't take this news lightly. As soon as Turner chose Indiana over the Sky, Reese made sure to voice her feelings.
So, in a kind of a surprising turn of events, the Indiana Fever have made yet another move this offseason, and they have signed Bree Turner to the roster.
You don't get told no. Like, you're going to get the yeses. You're going to get more yeses than nos, and just being able to know that. So, I'm excited for that. I know that's going to come soon.
So, this is what we're doing now? She tweeted, trying to play it off as a joke, but her side-eye and forced laugh made her frustration pretty clear. You could almost hear the bitterness in her words. Guess loyalty's got an expiration date like some old milk, she added, turning the situation into yet another moment for her. But behind her playful tone, it was obvious it stung. WNBA Twitter had a field day with it.
These are the pieces that Stephanie White and Amber Cox is going after. They're going after ready elite talent, kind of, they know their responsibility. They know what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have to do a whole lot of coaching like that, teaching plug-and-play pieces, and women that are going to come in and make immediate impact. That's what you want to see from this basketball team. That's what you see from elite teams across the league.
Reese's post wasn't just about a player choosing a new team. Brianna Turner is an all-WNBA defense first-team player and a proven veteran. She could have been a stabilizing force for the struggling Sky, but instead, she chose to go to Indiana, putting Reese in a difficult spot. Turner even took a pay cut to sign with the Fever rather than stay in Chicago, where they had the cap space to offer her more. For Angel Reese, still trying to convince the world that Chicago is the team to beat, it's tough to watch players you need go join your so-called rival.
WNBA free agency is officially underway, Annie. So when you see these names and the options that the Sky have, what do you think that they're cooking up?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Angel and Camilla are very interesting pieces. And when you're talking about, getting the right players in here, there is intrigue when you have young core pieces like that, because you could be part of developing them and developing towards a title contending season. But the reality is the Sky are still very far from that. And so this year, the focus really has to be on getting players in who are going to bridge that gap between this season and...
Let's be clear, though. There's no real rivalry, at least not in Turner's eyes. WNBA. Free agency has officially begun, and many are now wondering what moves Chicago is planning, especially with players like Reese and Camila Cardoso on the roster. But the reality is that Chicago's roster still seems far from a title contender.
So, lads, this is not great news, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously, they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough to get any offense.
They've got a lot of rebuilding to do, and the focus this season needs to be on bridging the gap between now and the next competitive season. Reese tried to shrug it off with another typical social media performance, but the cracks were showing. She tweeted, "Wow, just wow." Short and simple, but we all knew exactly what she meant.
It is funny that all these people who hated the Indiana Fever last year is finally coming around to sign with the team. Go figure. Now, I don't know the whole initial thing about this signing, maybe for depth, for defensive purposes, but it is funny to see how what a year make when the Indiana Fever is but is the top team.
Translation: she was furious. Can you blame her? First, A'ja Wilson was frustrated as she watched the Fever put together what looked like a super team. And now it's Reese's turn to feel the heat. It's like every top free agent looked at Chicago, looked at Indiana, and chose to play with Caitlin Clark. It's a tough pill to swallow for the Sky. In a surprising turn of events, the Fever made yet another significant move by signing Brianna Turner.
Indiana Fever are officially title contenders. Every day they have something new for us in free agency. And today, it's Miss DeWanna Bonner. Six-time WNBA All-Star and WNBA champ, a veteran in this game, can pretty much do it all. Also an enforcer, nasty defense. Should I continue? We have a new starting five. Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, DeWanna at the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, and Aaliyah Boston at the...
Meanwhile, in Indiana, Turner was welcomed with open arms. Aaliyah Boston, cool as always, tweeted, "Let's hoop." Short but full of confidence, a statement that says they know exactly what they're building over there. Sophie Cunningham was probably grinning from ear to ear, already imagining the first chance she gets to clap back at Angel Reese on the court. This isn't just about adding talent.
Is Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
The Fever are building chemistry before they even step onto the court. This team isn't just about star power. It's about finding the right pieces that complement Caitlin Clark's game. Stephanie White and Amber Cox are assembling a squad that can make an immediate impact. They're going after elite talent, and they know exactly what they're doing. The Fever are not just building for the future.
What Steph White is doing and what the Fever organization is doing is nothing less than phenomenal, in my opinion. They are taking this young, talented core that they have, you know, with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, and they're adding veteran players that Stephanie White has already worked with. Let's talk about that too, and has chemistry with and knows the work ethic of. And they are building this super team, make no mistake about it, that is going to give you instant results.
Breaking news came down, so we have to discuss it. This is what we do here. We're talking about the Indiana Fever making yet another move, Alicia, because they're Thanos right now and they're collecting all the Infinity Stones.
They're building to win now. And for Angel Reese, it's looking like a nightmare. While she's busy trying to convince us that Chicago is on the up, her teammates and potential teammates are quietly saying, "Nah, we're good. This is terrible news for the Chicago Sky, a team that's clearly in a rebuilding phase, and unfortunately for them, they don't own their pick."
Sydney Colson is a two-time WNBA champion, a true vet, an amazing backup point guard. And anytime that CC or any of the guards need to go to the bench, I mean, Sydney Colson always makes the right call, always makes the right decision. So to pick up a vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have CC and Aaliyah Boston and Lex.
If Chicago runs it back with their current roster, they're likely missing the playoffs again. Sure, there might be some improvement from Reese and Cardoso, but without Kennedy Carter, the offensive power isn't there. The Fever have already won free agency, and it's not even over yet. Angel Reese might have to start playing recruiter soon, but there's a problem. All the stars are already taken.
Just trying to give myself some grace because I know I'm not the player that I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself on the back, telling myself that I'm still doing great.
According to league sources, Weatherspoon had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Dear Lord.
Social media was buzzing with bold takes, and it wasn't subtle. One post mocked Reese's missed layups and made it clear, "We've got Caitlin Clark." It was loud, ruthless, and perhaps deserved, given Chicago's struggles. The Sky's free agency tracker looked more like a missing persons report, With key players like Marina Mabrey and Kennedy Carter gone,
throughout the year, WNBA players were demanding to be given credit for elevating the league. Angel Reese claimed that she, along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media, they wanted us to believe that the WNBA was exploding in popularity. They wanted to keep all the credit for themselves while downplaying the impact of the only star in the league, Caitlin Clark.
And Diamond DeShields choosing Connecticut over Chicago. Reese and Cardoso are the only ones left from the starting lineup. While teams like New York and the Aces flexed their super team status, Chicago looked like they were putting together a junior varsity squad. Meanwhile, it's funny how all the players who once hated on the Fever are now lining up to join them. It's clear now that Indiana isn't just a contender, they're a top team in the league.
That's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think it's exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So
the Fever have added more than just players. They've added championship pedigree. They're not waiting for the right moment. They're creating it. Natasha Howard isn't just a veteran. She's a champion who can still drop 20 points any night. DeWanna Bonner is a walking bucket and a proven leader. While Brianna Turner is one of the best defenders in the game, Sophie Cunningham brings the grit and attitude you need in the playoffs, and Sydney Colson is a veteran guard who can keep.
So, for all Aces fans, it's over. It's over. It's over. The reign of the Aces is over. I understand the shortest dynasty in the history of the sport of basketball. I've never heard of a dynasty that won 2 championships and then was done, because you're seeing all the ring-chasing free agents getting out of Vegas.
Things calm when the pressure's on. And here's the kicker. The Fever have kept their Fab Four intact. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. This isn't just a team, it's a squad that complements each other perfectly. Every role is covered: leadership, defense, scoring, and depth.
People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit. Some
it's
going
a
on
lot.
around there.
It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Caitlin Clark doesn't have to carry the load alone anymore. She's got a team that can support her and help her thrive. As for Angel Reese, her underdog speech isn't going. To win games when Caitlin Clark is draining threes from half court and Aaliyah Boston is blocking shots left and right. Chicago might think they can figure it out, but the Fever have already built a squad ready to win from day one. The rest of the league is still trying to catch up.
Are you in a position where you can add some pieces?
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position, and I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with.
The Fever have hit fast forward on their rebuild, and they're not looking back. For teams like Chicago, this is terrifying because Indiana isn't just looking to make the playoffs. They're aiming for a championship. They've built a team for now and the future, and every move they've made this offseason proves they're ready to take over the league. So, yeah, Angel Reese can keep posting her Instagram captions about proving people wrong. But while she's doing that, Caitlin Clark is getting ready to lead her team to the top. The Fever are coming, and they're not waiting.